she arrived home to see that I'd bought 100 acres of burned out dairy farm. Yeah, thought we'd have fat red and white cows first up, but then bumped into a guy called Andrew Garrett that kindly talked us into planting a small vineyard, just 5 acres, back in 1983 after the Ash Wednesday.
That's right, and it was interesting. I grew up at Lobethal on a farm, and being a hillbilly born and bred, was quite happy to actually have the decision made that we were going to have a property. So it was a good decision. Didn't lead to any arguments.
It was 1985, Laurent Perrier.
Yeah.
A friend of ours, Rob Coots, who was we were allowed to call it then champagne, but sparkling winemaker for Yalumba, and we got involved with Rob, and that's the wine I fell in love with, sparkling wine, and it's still one of my loves of today. Yep. It's just very beautiful wine. It
was one of those beautiful still nights, and he poured this champagne in the old-fashioned Mary Antoinette champagne glasses, and we all went really, really quiet because it was so beautiful. And Paul says, "How do you make this? This is great." So that was the turning point, bang, when we decided to go from grape growers to winemakers.
Yeah, and so to make that, Rob explained that you needed this press and cooling, etc. And we quickly managed to find an old milk tank, because this was an old dairy on this property. Put that together with some refrigeration, built an old press, and we used to run that off the old original tractor we had on the property. So the hydraulics of the tractor pressed the grapes, and it was very, very traditional method, champenoise style, and bottle fermented. We do see that there's a genuine interest in new and different varieties, but our core business still runs around some of the bigger varieties: Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Gris, Shiraz, Cabernets. But once again, our red blend, the Reuben, has been amazing, and we have some plans for a white blend into the future as well, with some new plantings of Gruner Veltliner and Gewurz, Pinot Blanc. So there's a lot on the horizon, and I think restaurateurs and hoteliers are another very strong point for the brand Paracombe. That a lot of the wine is consumed with food in our own domestic Great Adelaide market.
Obviously you have your commercial styles, which are popular with lots of people, but it's nice to have point of difference wines, like we do straight Cabernet Franc and straight Malbec, our Rosé, Malbec Tempranillo, dry style blend. And as people are becoming more discerning and more interested in wine, they start to think, okay, let's try something a little bit different from, say, a Sauvignon Blanc or a Shiraz. And you need to be innovative and to think and look for new things, because if you stay too conservative and staid, you can tend to get left behind. And people today are looking for what's new and interesting and different and fun.
The winter finished quite early, so it was an early spring, which for us, being at Paracombe in the Adelaide Hills, is a good outcome. Sometimes it can be a wet, slow spring. The vines don't wake up too well. When I say wake up, as in bud burst. This year it's just been a beautiful, steady bud burst. We've got good shoot growth for this time of the year. We're just, as we say, early summer, and we've just got the berries have set. So we have the bud burst, we get the shoot growth, the vines then flower, and now the berries have set. So when we get to the vineyard, you can see the nice small berries already starting to form. So it's at this stage a beautiful start to a 2015 vintage.